Hello, everyone, and welcome officially to this masterclass. I'm so excited. The reason why I wanted to do this masterclass was because recently I was traveling through the US and I spent a lot of time in my Instagram DMs. I spent a lot of time having a lot of conversations with people because when I was either traveling on an airplane or I was traveling in the car because we did a road trip, I just spent a lot of time having DMs with a lot of people and asking them what their biggest struggles were. And the thing that I realized, and I kind of already knew this because I've worked with hundreds of people all over the world now who are trying to build a personal brand and start an online business. But one thing I really realized as of late was that one of the biggest reasons why so many people aren't living up to their potential, aren't building the businesses that they truly desire to have, is because their fear of not being expert enough. I struggled a lot with imposter syndrome at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. And that's why this topic is so near and dear to my heart. When I see people out there who, as I said, have so much potential, they have great ideas and these beautiful intentions to make a positive impact on other people, but they procrastinate, they are perfectionists, and all of this comes because they have this fear that they're just not worthy enough or they're just not expert enough. So maybe this is you. Maybe right now at this current point in time, you're like, I have it within me. Like, I know it's inside me somewhere to be this extraordinary entrepreneur, but something's holding me back. And when I try to put myself out there online, or I get all of these ideas to, maybe write a book or to be starting a podcast or to get myself interviewed, all of these things, something holds me back. And usually it's this fear that I'm not good enough. I'm not expert enough. Why would people listen to me? So I know many of you are joining me live, so I wanted to say hello and welcome to this masterclass. As I just said, I'm so excited. If you are joining live, let me know that you are here. Hey Danielle, hey Pascal, hey Claire, I can see you're here. If you are joining live, let me know, does this resonate? Are you holding yourself back because you feel like maybe there's someone out there who is smarter than you, who's more intelligent than you, who, those are the same thing pretty much, but maybe there's someone out there who's got more expertise than you? Is it like, are you going online and comparing yourself to people and you get paralyzed because you see all of these people doing all of these amazing things and you think that you're just not good enough? You think that you're just not expert enough. Maybe you're stopping yourself from creating content because you feel like there's always something more to learn, right? That is what this masterclass is all about. Pascal said, absolutely. Hey girls, so excited for this masterclass. I am so excited. You feel it so much. I know you guys will because so many people do. Yes, I've been feeling like this for the past week. Well, guys, let me tell you that you are definitely in the right place because that is exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's masterclass. We are going to be going through, first of all, why it is so important to be seen as a leader online. And I don't want that to feel heavy because obviously if you're struggling with imposter syndrome now, knowing the importance of being seen as an expert may feel a little scary, but don't worry because what we're actually going to do in this masterclass is go through how to be an expert from day one, right? I'm going to go take you through the 4 Ds. This is something that I've created myself, the 4 Ds of how you can actually build your authority in your industry. Now, of course, I'm not saying how to be seen as an expert. I was very clear on my language for this masterclass. This isn't an unethical thing. This isn't about going out there and faking your way to success or lying or making people think that you're more successful or more advanced than you actually are. It's not about that. It's about what do you actually need to do to truly be an expert. This doesn't have to take you years. I see so many people thinking that they need 10 years experience in a particular industry before they can maybe coach someone or give advice. That's bull. I've coached so many incredible entrepreneurs who have, in a matter of months, built their expertise within their industry and built an incredible business to match that. It doesn't need to take years. All it needs to take is dedication. And no, that's not one of the Ds. Actually, maybe it is. But anyway, not in the reference that I was just talking about. But literally all it takes is a few things, and that's exactly what I want to teach you today. But I know many of you who are joining me live are already a part of the community. So hello, welcome back. I am so excited to see you here, guys. But I also am going to be putting this masterclass out to new people. So I did want to do a quick introduction of myself for those of you who I haven't met yet. So hello, my name is Erin, as you can probably see. My mission in life is truly to help people become extraordinary, to build extraordinary businesses, to build extraordinary personal brands so that they can make a positive impact on others. I truly do believe that we all have this sort of mission inside of us. And yes, of course, there are things that can influence this mission, our environment that we grow up in. But either way, I think that our life kind of falls into place because we're all supposed to do something epic in this world. The thing that I also see is so many people not living up to this potential. I see so many people who have this amazing vision or this amazing dream that could so positively impact the world at large, their community, a whole bunch of people around them. But because of their fears, their limitations, their stories, their self-doubts, they just don't take the action that they need to in order to create that result in their life. And so that's my mission. That's why I am an expert, a self-proclaimed expert. That's one of the things I'll teach you in personal branding. I've literally made it my mission to help people to build a personal brand, because when you build a brand that is recognizable, that's when you can truly do anything that you want. You can make an extraordinary impact on other people, as well as live an incredible life yourself. You can build a business that allows you to have total freedom, financial freedom, travel, be your own boss, whatever it is that you want. Building a personal brand will help you to do that in the most flexible way possible. So that is my mission. I've also been on YouTube for about 5 years now and built my community to over 100,000. I am also a business coach, helping you alongside to build your personal brand to build an extraordinary business. And really, I just want you to know the most important thing out of all of this. I'm going to do the corny stuff first, because this is going to be a very strategic style masterclass. I'm truly passionate about both sides of business mindset and then business strategy. I'm like one of those people who's like split down the middle. I love them both. I know usually people teeter towards one side. I'm like, I love them both. This masterclass is going to be filled with a lot of strategy, the what do you actually do? But one thing I just really want to preface this with is one thing that you need to work on, if you haven't been already, in order to create any success. This isn't just in business, becoming an expert, personal branding, any of this stuff. But one thing, and please write this down, that you need to work on is your sense of self-belief or faith. And I know that sounds kind of corny, and it's like, well, duh, I already know that I need to believe in myself. But do you know it enough that you're actually actioning it? So many people know they need to believe in themselves. They know they need to back themselves. But the thing that's holding them back is that they're just not doing it. So maybe that's you. I don't know. I'd love to hear from you guys who are here live. Are you truly backing yourself? Do you truly, point blank, believe in yourself at this current point in time? Because if the answer is no, or if the answer is like, I'm not even quite sure. If the answer is not a hell yes, that is the first thing you need to work on. All of the stuff that I'm going to give you today will help you to position yourself as an expert. It will help you to build a tribe. It will help you to get clients. But honestly, the preface to all of this, the prerequisite to all of the work that we're going to do today, is a practice of self-belief. So how do you actually start believing in yourself? Well, first of all, you take action. You take action on what I'm going to teach you today. You invest in yourself. You back yourself. You take risks. You build your community. You build a support network around you. You take each day as it comes. You create a vision, and you start taking action steps towards that. Nobody's born necessarily with like, narcissistic style confidence in themselves. Well, some people are, obviously, but for the average person, we have to develop our confidence. We have to develop our sense of self-belief. Don't worry if right now you are not like 100% the most confident self-belief person, like jumping out of an airplane, skydiving style confidence in business. You can develop it, but you must have a practice in place in order to do so. So please, that is the number one tip that I want to give you today. Honestly, if you don't get anything else out of this masterclass, which I know you will, and I hope you do, but if you don't take anything away, starting to believe in yourself will force you to take actions that will help you to be seen as an expert, help you to get more clients, help you to make more money, help you to build your influence online. All of that will come from you believing in yourself, because you'll think differently, you'll feel differently, and therefore you will act differently. So please, you hire a kick-ass business coach. Mel, I mean, you can obviously do that as well. Mel is one of my clients. If you want to help yourself start believing in yourself, you can get someone who truly believes in you, and they will push you to believe in yourself. But I'm not here to pitch myself as a coach. I'm here to teach you guys how to be an expert. So the things that you can do, the things that I do. Okay, so let's get really practical here. I want this to be like pretty casual. I've got my YouTube bottle, by the way, because I'm a total advocate for YouTube. I love YouTube. But that's totally besides the point. The things that I do to really start believing in myself is I set mini goals. So something that I do quite often is I've got a big vision, right? I've got a big vision for where I want to take this company, for where I want to take my brand. But the thing that I do is I set mini goals. So whether that's like, okay, by the end of the week, I want to sign X amount of people into my group coaching program. I break it down into a very small, achievable goal, or maybe even it's something like by the end of the week, I want to have gone to the gym 5 times. These small mini goals, what they do, the things that are almost like really, really achievable, but still stretch you kinda in a little way. What this helps you to do is build up that sense of self-belief, right? Because if you get to the end of the week and you're like, wow, okay, I set the goal to go to the gym 5 times. I've been to the gym 5 times. You know what? I actually did that. There's something called the Lotus effect, I believe. Don't quote me on that because I'm not exactly sure. I'm just thinking of pulling something out of my head that I once saw on YouTube. But there's something called a Lotus effect. And basically what this is a really great way to self-motivate is through the process of understanding the actions that we've taken rather than the result that we've got. And what that actually means is people who think they're naturally talented in one area, so say, for example, someone who, let's just say, coming down to like singing, right? Someone who thinks that they are naturally talented in one area will be less motivated to continue to take action in that area than someone who believes that they've actually worked hard to get to where they want to go. So if someone was a great singer, they might be less motivated to actually go out there and to try build a singing career than someone who's actually worked, who's gone to lessons, who's read books, who's listened to hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of music and has developed their voice. That person is more likely to be motivated to actually go out there. So setting these mini goals, what it actually allows you to do, setting these mini action-orientated goals, what it actually allows you to do is to feel motivated, which is really going to help you build your sense of self-belief. So I just wanted to start with that because I think it's so important because, as I said, that really is the prerequisite to anything that we're doing today. You have to believe in yourself. Now, of course, there's lots of other little things that you can do for self-belief. That's not what this masterclass is necessarily about. I mean, I don't even have it written down. That just came out of nowhere. But I really, really wanted to start with that. So if you want to talk to me about other ways to help believing in yourself, please, by all means, reach out to me on Instagram. That is the best way to communicate with me when I'm not here on Facebook doing lives. Or for anyone watching this in the future, it might have just been sent straight to your inbox, but either way. So I want to talk a little bit about what does being a leader actually mean? So obviously the topic of this masterclass is how to be a leader, not be seen, but how to actually be a leader in your niche and do this from day one. If you're someone who's actually just starting a business, or maybe you've been in business for a little while, and the thing that really is holding you back is that no one's seeing you as a leader. You have to be a leader in order to get clients, in order to get interview opportunities, in order to get guest opportunities, whether it be blogging on someone's YouTube channel or on their podcast, in order to be invited to speak, in order to get people to want to network with you. You have to be seen as a leader. So what does being a leader actually mean? It means someone who is an authority figure, right? Someone who has built a relationship of trust with their audience through the value that they give. It's someone who is seen to be different from other people. Now, this doesn't always need to be in the most obvious ways, and we are going to talk a little bit about distinction when it comes to leadership later on. That's one of the Ds. Well, differentiation is one of the Ds. We'll get there anyway. I feel like I'm just dropping all the Ds before we even get there. But being a leader really truly is about being 100% authentically you, standing out from everybody else, But more than that, it truly is about trust. In order to be seen as a leader, in order to have the authority, it's about trust. And when I say trust, it really comes in many forms. People need to trust that what you are teaching them is going to benefit them. The thing that I see so many people doing wrong is that they're just putting all of this surface level information out there. The people who are true leaders, who I see to be true leaders, whether they're, Tony Robbins' level of leadership or new coaches in the industry who've literally only done this for a few months, the thing that I see most of them having in common is that they're always willing to go the extra mile when it comes to value. So when it comes to leadership, the word that I really want you to write down and think about, it's trust. Leadership is not about being the most loud, even charismatic, bold, Gary Vaynerchuk style personality. It's not about being someone who can jump on a Facebook Live and be like, rah, 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 hey guys, what's up? That's not necessarily being a leader. It's not even the person who can take the best Instagram photos or the person who makes the most money. It's the person that people can trust and rely on for information, for guidance, for leadership. If you think about it, if you think about a group of people lost in the desert, right? Who is the person that the pack is most likely to follow to safety? It's going to be the person who knows the way, right? Who has the knowledge, who has the information. It's not going to be the person over in the corner being like, hey guys, I'm so funny, let me make you laugh. Yeah, okay, that person might provide a lot of information and value for the strandedness, but the person that people are going to follow is the person with the information, is the person who knows, right? That's a big part of leadership. People are going to trust this person to get them there because of the knowledge that they have. So yes, whilst being charismatic and being a personality that influences your leadership, at the end of the day, it's people being able to trust you to get them to where they want to go. And usually the way that is online with the types of businesses that most of us are starting is through value, is through information, is through education, right? So that is what leadership is all about. It's about being able to lead people. It's about people trusting you to get them results. And so where I see so many people going wrong when it comes to leadership, first of all, is exactly that. They're just not going deep enough. We're going to talk a little bit more about this when we get to the 4Ds, but maybe this is you. I'd love to hear from those of you who are here live. Be really honest. I won't call out your actual names for people who are watching this in the future, but be really honest. Do you think maybe one of the reasons why people aren't seeing you as a leader is because you're just not deep enough with your education? Maybe you don't have enough of an opinion. Maybe you aren't really truly dedicating yourself to learning the material that you need to do so you can sound different to everyone else. I mean, if we took the example of a business coach, right? Someone who specializes in social media. I see a lot of people who are social media experts, and I'm just doing it in air quotes because, when I'm air quoting it, what I mean is I see a lot of people who maybe they know how to, use hashtags on Instagram, or maybe they've got some really cool little hacks around Facebook Live. But here's the thing, yeah, okay, to a certain degree, that person is a leader, but the people who are thriving in the space, like the Seth Godins or the Social Media Examiner team, the people who are actually thriving in the space are the ones that literally, they know all there is to know. Now, of course, you can't always know everything. There's always something more to learn. It's like the infinite degree of space, right? There's always going to be something new to learn. But it's the ones who are purely obsessed with finding the information and sharing it with their audience that are truly seen as the leaders. So maybe you're just not going deep enough. But another thing that I see so many people, and I know this is going to resonate with a lot of you, so please just be honest, share with me, does this resonate? But the thing that I see so many people doing wrong is waiting for the gatekeeper. And what I mean by that is maybe you've started a business or you've started building a personal brand, right? You've started putting yourself out there online and creating content, but there's still a part of you who almost wants the certificate. You want someone to come up and to validate you, whether it be your audience, whether it be a coach, whether it be somebody else in the industry. It's like you're waiting for somebody to validate you, for somebody to tell you, hey, pat on the back, you're doing a good job. You're influencing other people. Here's your certificate in influence. It doesn't happen like that. Way too many people are waiting around. And this is why I see also so many coaches out there who are thinking that they need to get a coaching certificate of some sort. There are very few industries where you actually need a certificate. And those are usually the ones where there is insurance involved, right? Tony Robbins does not have a coaching certificate. There was no certificate given to him to say, hey, Tony, here's a little certificate that now qualifies you in speaking to people and asking them questions and giving them advice. So many people, they're just wanting all of these validations to actually be seen as a leader. You know what? That is never, ever going to get you where you want to go when it comes to being a leader in your niche. The people who are totally badass, the people who are relentless, unstoppable, and therefore succeeding in their impact and their income are the ones who are not waiting for approval. Those are the ones that are out there and making it happen on their own terms. And then the last thing that I really see so many people going wrong when it comes to leadership, and I know this might resonate with a lot of you as well, is that you're letting your imposter syndrome call the shots. Here's the thing. When it comes to leadership, putting yourself out there, building a personal brand, building a business, most people, I'm going to just throw a statistic out there, which I'm making up off the top of my head, so please do not quote me on this one. But I'm going to say 95% of people who start a business suffer with some type of imposter syndrome. Not even just the people who are starting either. There's been literally articles of people like Diane von Furstenberg, other people who are in the, sort of Wall Street style industry, who still to this day, after millions and millions of dollars and success upon success upon success, still suffer with imposter syndrome. But what so many people do, and I'm going to say that this was my story too, what so many people do is they allow that imposter syndrome to call the shots. When I started my first business, which was in social media marketing, I was a social media expert, right? One of those quotations. But I'd just come off the back of a 4-year business degree and studied and been on YouTube for about 2 years at the time. So I did have a lot of knowledge in the area, specifically when it came to content creation, which was my specialty in my business, right? But here's the thing. I suffered so badly with imposter syndrome. I suffered so badly with feeling like a fraud, feeling afraid of making the wrong decision, feeling afraid of letting people down, that I didn't assume the role of the leader. I didn't turn around and go, you know what? Actually, I can learn whatever it is that I need to learn in order to get to where I want to go. I can create amazing content. I have got epic results for people. I am able to dedicate myself to this mission. Instead of saying that, I said, I'm afraid. And so I'm just going to not do anything. And that's kind of what led me down the path of where I am today. I suffered a lot with imposter syndrome, totally freaked out about the fact that I was suffering with imposter syndrome, which then led me into a whole entire journey of self-development, which ultimately led me to coaching. So I'm actually really glad it happens. That's something I would definitely encourage you guys. Anytime you're going through a big struggle, know that there probably is a higher purpose to it that kind of takes some of the pressure off. But that's probably a chat for a different day. We could do an entire masterclass on that. But what I'm trying to say is there was one of two paths that I really could have gone down, but I chose the path of allowing my imposter syndrome to stall me completely. So many of you, I feel like at this current point in time, you're experiencing these natural emotions. Let me just say that imposter syndrome is a natural emotion. It's your fear response. It's the same thing if we're talking biologically and primitively. It's the same thing that keeps you from going straight into a saber-toothed tiger. Oh my gosh. Saber-toothed tiger. What is that word? Someone tell me, please. But anyway, whatever. But saber-toothed tiger? Oh my God, when your brain just completely scrambles and you're like, words? Anyway, it's the same thing that, keeps you safe. Ultimately, we all have these fear mechanisms. Imposter syndrome is just a byproduct of that fear mechanism that is literally designed to keep us safe, right? It's literally designed to keep us from doing scary things. And in business perspective, feeling like a fraud, feeling like we're going to fail, feeling like we're going to be ostracized if we make a mistake, this is all just a response of fear. And so that's what most people do. Maybe right now you are saber-toothed tiger. Saber-toothed tiger. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, okay, anyway. I'm glad we cleared that up, guys. Now we can continue on the masterclass. Or we can just finish it now because at least we know it's saber-toothed tiger. Jokes. But, a lot of people are suffering with imposter syndrome. And I just want you to know that if you are suffering with imposter syndrome, it's fine. But it's what you do with that imposter syndrome that matters. True leaders feel the fear and do it anyway. I know that's a quote that you've probably heard before, but I really want you to just write it down anyway. Because again, we can intellectually know something, but until we integrate it with who we are into our true core beings, into our identity, we will never create change. I learned something recently about how people actually create change and the 3 levels. I'll just quickly cover it now because I've spoken about it quite a few times, and again, this isn't my work whatsoever, but I just wanted to talk about it because I learned it, and it has to do with what we're talking about today. But there really is 3 levels of what creates change, right? Or the 3 levels of knowledge referring to change. The first is knowing something intellectually. We might know that leaders feel the fear and do it anyway, but that's not going to help us create change. Knowing it won't help us create change. Knowing it and emotionally connecting to it, it does help us create change, but it's not sustainable. Right now in this moment, me saying, feel the fear and do it anyway, you might get really inspired, when you listen to a podcast or a video, or maybe you go to a seminar, or you even come on one of these lives. Like, maybe you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying about being a leader and you feel inspired about it. So maybe, for the next 2 weeks, you go out there and you create a whole bunch of content, but then something happens, right? Something triggers you, you fall off, because the 3rd level and the only way to truly change for the long term is true integration, is to actually be someone who believes that makes that their story. Feeling the fear and doing it anyway, knowing it and feeling it, it's not enough. You have to live it. You have to be it. You have to be someone who feels the fear and do it anyway. And that all circles back to what we were talking about in the beginning. When you believe in yourself and you do those little mini goals and take those daily action steps, that's how you truly integrate. So anything that I'm going to speak about today, we're just about to jump into the 4 Ds, and anything that I speak about today, you can't just get it or feel it, you have to be it in order for it to really, really help you to get to where you want to go in order to achieve your goals. Reminds me of Power Rangers. Yes, you get motivation. Yeah, but motivation, it just isn't enough sometimes, guys. You have to integrate. It's all about becoming. Be the version of you. Be the leader. All right, so now I want to jump into the 4 Ds. I just want to let everyone know who is joining me live. I am going to do a Q&A session at the end. So if you're watching the replay in the future, then do stay to the end still, because maybe some of the questions that the guys here who are live ask are questions that you had. But of course, if you're watching this as a replay in the future, then please just reach out to me on Instagram if you've got any questions, if there's anything you want to talk about. And I'd also really, really like to ask anyone who is here live to take a screenshot or grab your phone right now. I want you to take a photo on your phone. I'm going to do like a nice little pose in just a second, but what I want you to do is either take a screenshot if you are on your desktop, or take a photo on your phone, or take a screenshot on your phone, and I want you to share this on your Instagram stories. Tag me, tag the Game Changer Company. You can just tag one of us, doesn't matter, but I want to see that you are totally committed. By taking this screenshot, it shows me that you are totally committed to integrating this. You're totally committed to becoming a leader, to be a leader, right? So you can take a little photo now. Do one of these ones. I don't know. I'm so corny sometimes. But either way, I want you to share it, tag me, let me know that you are totally committed to this stuff. Cool? Awesome. All right. So let's jump into the 4 Ds. Every time I keep saying 4 Ds, I don't know why I think of the eggplant emoji. But anyway, okay, so the 4 Ds. The first D, well, let me start with what these 4 Ds actually are. These 4 Ds are a process for how to actually be a leader online. There are only a few steps that you actually need to take. I think a lot of people catastrophize in their own mind the process of becoming an expert or to be seen as a leader. Actually, a lot of people catastrophize everything they need to do to create success. That's why in my Simply Business group coaching program, I actually teach my ABC business model as well as a couple of other business models. And I called it Simply Business simply for the fact that I'm just so sick of people overcomplicating stuff. Yes, there involves a lot of hard work, dedication, consistency, but it's all repetitive of only a very few things. And that's very much the same when it comes to leadership, right? When it comes to leadership, it's not as if there's a billion and one things that you need to do. It's not as if there's all these different steps that you need to take or all of these different hoops that you need to jump through. That's gatekeeper mentality. There's a few things that you need to do in order to be seen as a leader, but you have to do them repetitively, consistently, over and over again. And that's what is going to get you to where you want to go. The same with business. Like I said, when I teach in my Simply Business group coaching program, my ABC business model, really, you want to start a business, you want to reach 6 figures, like I've been able to, multiple 6 figures, climbing to 7 figures. I sat down and I thought about, okay, what have I done to get to this point? And there was really only 3 things. There's only 3 things that I've done to get myself to the point that I am today, right? If you see all of the success that I built online or even the success of some of my clients, there's really only 3 things that people are ever doing. And that's what I teach when it comes to Simply Business about building a successful business online. But when it comes to this masterclass, I really wanted to break it down. I sat down and I did the same thing. I thought about it and I was like, I have had hundreds of clients at this point, right? And I looked at all the most successful ones and how they've become a leader, and specifically the ones who've been seen as a leader pretty quickly. And I sat down and I thought about what are those few things that they've done. And again, there was only a few things that these people had done. There's only a few things that I've actually done to be seen as a leader, to be a leader, not even to be seen as a leader. This is to actually be a leader, to have authority, to be a thought leader, to be a badass, right? To build a tribe, to build a community. And the first one is decide. I know this has a lot to do with what we're talking about with the self-belief stuff, but truly you have to decide. And I don't mean decide to want to be a leader. Decide that you are a leader. Too many people are putting it as a goal in the future. I can't wait till one day, the gatekeepers come along and to all of a sudden, maybe I'll get a 10K Instagram swipe up feature and then I'll be a leader. Or maybe, when I get 100K downloads on my podcast, then I'll be a leader. No, you have to decide that from today, you are a leader. You have to tell your imposter syndrome, hey, imposter syndrome, I know you're trying to tell me that the information that I already have or the things that I'm willing to learn are common knowledge, but I'm choosing not to believe that. I'm choosing to believe that I have value to offer this world, that people are going to want to listen to me because I have a story, I have an opinion, I've got a brand, and that I have an important message that I want to share. You have to choose from day one that is what you are going to be. Not think, not feel, but be. You have to just choose to be a leader. When someone steps into the spotlight per se and literally believes in themselves so much that they're like, hey, you know what? I'm almost delusional in the fact that I believe in myself so much that I'm going to go out there and just be a leader. I'm going to just choose to just be a leader. I'm going to go out into the internet and I'm just going to start doing lives. I'm going to start creating content. I'm going to share all the knowledge that I have as a leader. Now, I'm of course not saying that you need to go out there and act as if you've got results that you don't. It's not about that. It's not about going out there and being like, hey guys, I've got this multiple 6-figure business when really you've just started. No, it's about going out there with a certain level of conviction that whatever your mission is, people should listen. I heard something from one of my mentors recently where it just blew my mind. I thought this was so, so powerful. You decide on what your personal brand is, claim it, and then become it. And the example that this person gave was that in the early stages of his career, he started calling himself the copyright whiz kid, as in he was doing copywriting and his whole thing was about like copywriting quickly, like he was claiming that he was like the fastest copywriter. And whilst in a certain degree that's kind of buffery, which at the end of the day, what buffery is like, when Red Bull say Red Bull gives you wings. It's so outrageous that no one's going to believe it. So actually it's all right. If I was like, I'm like the number one leopard print wearer in the world, like you guys would be like, well, that's kind of funny, but it's also so unrealistic that it's not true, that it's almost okay. You know what I mean? So in terms of that, but he became it regardless of whether it was like completely true, because it's impossible to actually quantify whether someone is the fastest copywriter in the world. But almost it's like he just claimed it. He claimed and became it. So he decided that he was going to be a really fast copywriter, and he decided that he was going to be like the number one fast copywriter in the world, and he claimed it, and then he became it. So if it's like you are sitting there and you are someone who's in the spiritual niche, right? You've decided that you want to be a manifestation coach, right? You can go out there and claim all of the things that you want to help people to do and then become it, right? You literally just go out there and decide that you want to be like the number one manifestation coach. Go out there and decide that you're going to be like the best space on the internet for girls to come together and learn about astrology. Like, you can claim these things, but you've got to back it up. Of course, you can't just go out there and be like, this is the number one place to hang around and learn about spirituality. Of course, there's no way to quantify that. Absolutely not. But you can absolutely claim things like that. But you have to back it up. So many people, what they do is they say, like, this is the number one place to learn about personal branding, or the number one place on the internet to learn about, or to, connect with like-minded tribes. And then they don't follow through with the action. And so people come and they're excited by the proclamation of whatever it might be, but then there's no results to back that up. There's no evidence to back that up. There's no content. The person's not showing up as a leader. You've just got to decide. You've got to decide who you want to be in this world. You've got to decide what it is that you want to do for people. And then you've got to start taking the action to back that up, which is actually the second D. The second D is dedicate. And honestly, guys, this is the true core essence of what I mean when I say how to be a leader from day one. What most people do is that they choose a niche, they may start an Instagram, they build their website, and they spend so much time thinking about creating content. They spend so much time fiddling with their website. They spend so much time planning out their Asana. They spend so much time going on Pinterest and thinking about topics that they could speak about. The number one thing that you should be doing in the beginning is obsessing with your topic. Right? And this is actually, I interviewed someone, Gala Darling. She's amazing. The podcast is going out the day of this recording. So if you're watching this well into the future, then it will already be up. But she literally said something. And so I want to quote her on this. If you are not totally obsessed with what you do, then do something else. A big part of being a leader is someone who is literally addicted to learning about, to thinking about, to talking about the topic that they've chosen. So say, for example, you are someone who wants to build a fitness business and your particular area of interest is, I'm going to say, bodybuilding, right? If you're not learning everything you possibly can about bodybuilding, if a big portion of your time is not consumed with thinking about, learning about, listening about bodybuilding, then it's probably not going to be your path of being a leader in that area. The people who truly thrive are the ones, as I said in the beginning, who are able to provide the most value. But how do you actually provide value? You learn things. It's as simple as that, guys. It really is. Choose something that you are willing to obsess over. And I know the word obsession and addiction, a lot of people fear using this, but I'm with Seth Godin when he says there is nothing wrong with having something that consumes your mind, because that passion, that emphasis is what is going to allow you to make a difference in the world. We all have our thing, right? Like I said in the beginning, we all have our mission. Find what that thing is. Find what that thing is that you can literally sleep, eat, and breathe. The thing that you think about when you wake up, the thing that you think about when you go to sleep. Now, I'm not saying you need to work 24/7. I'm not talking Gary Vaynerchuk style hustle, hustle, hustle. But I'm saying it should be something, if you're sitting there on the couch and you're like, okay, I'm going to spend some time, like watching YouTube. Most likely you should want to watch something that influences whatever your topic that you've chosen is. Of course, there's sometimes maybe you just want to watch like a Jimmy Fallon or something, but for the most part, For the bigger picture of your life, you should be drawn to this information. So really, really thinking about, if you want to be a leader, are you choosing to be a leader in something that you actually enjoy learning about? Because in order for you to be seen as a leader, the first step is to decide that you are going to be a leader, right? Claim it, but then back it up with action. You could go and say, for example, let's do a real life case study here. So say, for example, what's my name? My name is Chrissy. It's the first name that I saw, right? My name is Chrissy, and I have literally just decided that I am going to be a manifestation coach. I've decided that I want to be a leader. I want to be seen as a leader in my industry of spirituality and manifestation, particularly manifesting with the laws of the universe. All right, so it's day one. I know a little bit about spirituality. I've read The Secret. I have, had a few conversations. I want to start a business. What would be my next action steps? Well, I've decided, I want to be someone who's seen as like the go-to girl for like manifesting. And we'll get to the go-to part in a little while, because there's other ways that you can influence this. But I want to be one of those go-to people. Like, people really, really think of me when it comes to the laws of the universe. Okay, so I know a little bit. What can I do? Well, the first thing is I'm either going to go on Amazon, or I'm going to go to my library, and I'm going to rent every single book that I can possibly do. I'm going to go make a playlist on my YouTube channel of a bunch of videos that I can learn. I'm going to download every single podcast. I'm going to start following accounts. I'm going to literally consume. I would probably say in the beginning, you want to be spending like maybe up to 2 hours learning about what it is that you are going to develop in. I still to this day probably spend a couple of hours a day, whether it be podcasts. And don't tell me you don't have time. If you're going to tell me you don't have time right now, I'm sorry, but that is not the makings of a leader, right? A leader will find time. They will create time. Complaining about not having time is actually giving you less time. Listen to podcasts when you're in the shower, when you're on the toilet, when you're getting ready, when you're doing your makeup, when you're commuting. Listen to audiobooks when you're walking your dog, doing the dishes. Use what Tony Robbins calls net time. Learning is the easiest thing that you can do. It's easier than creating content. It's easier than building your website. It's easier than starting your own podcast. Learning about your material is literally the easiest thing that you can do if you're short on time, because you can do it while you do all of those other mundane kind of mindless tasks that you do throughout the day. And trust me, we all do them. Even if you download 5-minute podcasts and listen to them every single morning when you are cleaning your teeth, if that's the literal only time that you've got, but I'm sure you've got other time, right? Dedicate. You literally should be, as I said, eating, sleeping, living, breathing this topic. The people who are seen as leaders. As I said, I've coached hundreds of people, and I've seen every end of the scale, like people who have massive amounts of success in their first year, multiple six-figure success in their first year. And then I've worked with people who still are taking their time to get to where they want to go. What differentiates them? It's their level of dedication. It's their level of decision, right? The people who go out there and actually just make it their thing, they make it their life to a certain degree, are the ones that thrive and succeed more, right? But then obviously, this is all internal, right? What we've spoken about so far, the decide and the dedicate, that's all internal. That's the internal part of being seen as a leader, being a leader. Now, what you actually need to do is to deliver. If in the beginning you've decided, I'm going out there, I'm going to be a leader, I'm going to have this conviction, I'm going to work on my self-belief, because of course that's a big part, but I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be a leader, and then I'm going to absolutely dedicate myself because I've chosen something that I'm actually interested in. I'm not just starting a business or building a brand because I think it's going to get me out of my full-time job, or, I think I'm going to be able to buy a bunch of Gucci bags. Like, I'm actually doing this because I'm passionate about this mission that I'm on. I want to create this change in this world. And so I'm dedicated to learning everything I possibly can about this. The next part is deliver. You actually have to go out there and share your message with the world. I told you guys, this isn't complicated stuff, right? There are only a few things that you need to do, and most likely you already know them, but it's about integrating them, right? It's about integrating all of this into who you actually are. And so the next part is deliver. You have to go out there as often as you possibly can, as often as suits your current lifestyle, and teach what it is that you're learning in your own authentic way. So say, for example, if we went back to the example of Chrissy, and I'm sorry, Chrissy, if you're not going down the manifestation laws of the universe route, but we were just using your name. So hopefully that's okay. But say you were going down. Okay, so say we go back to this case study, right? Decided, gone out there, rented all the books. Why do I keep saying rented? What do you do when you go to a library? Borrowed all the books, bought all these books from Amazon, or maybe downloaded all these podcasts. I've started consuming all this information. I have a notebook and I'm writing down all of my ideas, and I'm starting to connect the dots, and I'm starting to build models, and I'm starting to innovate in my own way. And then I'm starting to think, wow, that impacts my story. And then you start to think about, maybe if I thought about it like this, oh, that's a little hard to understand, but maybe if we thought about it like this, your mind starts working, all the cogs start moving. And so there's nothing else you can do but go out there and start teaching people. In the beginning, the more you deliver, the more people that are going to see you as a leader. Like I said, leadership is all about trust. It's all about people knowing that you're going to take them from where they are to where they want to be with the information that you have. And so the more information that you gather, the more that you literally, the way that I see it is, so say there's all of these resources out there, right? All of these resources out there. It's like you're scooping them into like a big barrel. You guys know I used to work for a wine company, or maybe you don't if you're just meeting me for the first time, but I used to work for a wine company, and we used to go on these wine tours, and they do most of it in like big vats and big barrels. But one of the wine places that we did, they had the old school method of winemaking, which was the stomping the grapes with your feet, right? They obviously don't do that for commercial reasons these days. It's totally unhygienic. But I saw that happening once, and it was like they got all of the ingredients, the fruits, the berries, the grapes, like all of the other ingredients, whatever it may be, that they put into the barrels. And it's like they stomped them all around. They took all of these different ingredients and they stomped them all around, and then it produced something totally unique and totally new. Think about baking a cake, baking anything really. You take all of these ingredients and you mix them all up to produce something new. That's what most people do. Don't be afraid of learning other people's content, because as long as you've got that process of creating it, mixing it all together, stomping it like the grapes, what you produce is of course going to be new. The way that you teach it when it's mixed with, you might take, if we use Chrissy's example, like we've learned all about Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction and The Secret, we put that into the barrel or into the cake mix with our own experiences and our own stories and our own opinions, and we mix it all together. Then what we actually deliver is something totally new and unique. So that's what we need to make sure that we're doing. We're going out there and we're learning all of this stuff. We're processing it in our cake mix, and then we're putting it out into the world as something totally new and unique, still something incredibly valuable. I mean, if you think about a cake, eggs on their own are valuable. Flour on its own might be valuable for some particular things, I don't know. But milk on its own is valuable. Put it together, you create something that's even just as valuable. I mean, obviously, depending on opinion, some people like eggs more than they like cake. But at the end of the day, what you are producing is totally unique to you, but you have to have a way to deliver that information to the world. And so the thing that I teach a lot to my students is, in the beginning, don't go, I need to be on every single platform doing every single thing, right? Spend more time mastering your craft. Spend more time deciding to be a leader, working on that self-belief. And then when it comes to learning and when it comes to delivering, just choose one way to do it. One core way to actually get your message out the world, and then probably one supplementary way for people to connect with you on a deeper level. Now, I'm not going to make this masterclass about personal branding or building tribe, because of course I have a lot of content about that. It's one of my biggest passions. But simply what I'm trying to say is, in the beginning, I always recommend people to have one primary content platform, either in the form of a video, written, or audio. So what I mean is like a YouTube channel, or maybe Facebook Lives, video, LinkedIn video, or audio podcast, or a blog of some sort, or you might even blog here on Facebook, whatever it may be. You need to have some channel for long form communication. The way that you teach people, the way that you build that trust, the way that you get your education out into the world so people can say, hey, this person knows what they're talking about, let me follow them. They're going to get me to where I want to go. You've got to have a way to communicate that to your audience, right? And that usually happens through that long form communication. So don't overwhelm yourself in the beginning. Choose one way to communicate it out to the world. And then, of course, as I said, you want to have one way, like maybe you choose YouTube and you want to create YouTube videos to connect with your audience. And then maybe you've got an Instagram account where you connect with them on a deeper level. So you teach them and connect with them. But what I'm trying to say is you've got to go out there and teach. The more that you actually teach valuable stuff, the more that people are going to listen. In the beginning, it's really important that you focus as much as you possibly can on value. I know I've kind of said that already, but what I see so many people doing wrong, again, is just being incredibly surface level with their content, just sharing other people's quotes. Or the thing that I see so many people doing is like posting a really cool picture on Instagram and then just doing an emoji as the caption. As often as you possibly can, you want to be adding value. You want to be teaching. And I know a lot of people, when I give them this advice, I'm like, well, why aren't you teaching more? Why aren't you creating more content? It's because they feel like they don't have anything to say. So maybe that's you. Maybe right now you're like, I want to go out there and I want to create more content and I even have the time to do so, but I feel like I don't have anything to say. Well, guys, that's because you're probably not learning enough. You're not dedicating yourself enough. There's always more information that you can put into your cake and produce. There's always more ingredients, right? So what you really want to make sure that you're doing is that having this beautiful, beautiful, nice process of getting the ingredients in and getting the production out into the world, getting the message out into the world. The more ingredients you put in, the more you're going to be able to produce. If you feel like you don't have anything to say, it's simply just because if you don't feel like you don't have anything to bake, it's because there's not enough ingredients going in. So the more you dedicate, the more you're going to be able to deliver. All of these D's, they add to one another. You've got to decide first. You've got to dedicate second, you've got to deliver third, and then the fourth D is differentiate. So really what this is about is if you are going to be a leader, I drew the most heinous, literally, this is going to be so embarrassing. I can't even believe I'm showing this to you, but I drew the most heinous, but this is the way that I see it. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed to show you this because it actually kind of looks gross. But this is my model for how to differentiate, right? This line in the middle is the line of standards. It's where most people hang out, right? It's the surface level stuff. It's the information without the flair, right? Of course, I've talked this whole time about information and the facts and the education and the knowledge being valuable, but how to be a leader, how to take that information and differentiate is through variables, right? It's through you being different. So if everyone's just producing information across this level, all of these lines here, I know this is the ugliest thing, right? But all of these lines here, are other people. They're your competition, right? Most people, they stay close to the safety line, right? They stay close to the middle. They stay close to this line here. Now, all of these lines going up and down, what they simply are variables. They're values, they're aesthetic differences, their opinions, their outrageousness. And all of these lines going across, what they are audiences. Audiences will cross depending on what's important to them. Yeah, of course, there are still some people who stay close to the middle because they're not willing to go out there, but lots of people are crossing depending on their values. And so what I'm trying to say here is there's less competition the more outrageously you that you are. The more that you influence your leadership with your values, with your opinions, with your aesthetic differences, with your personality, the more differences that you create, all of those spikes up and down are points of difference, right? And so the more different you are, the more that you separate yourself from that line of safety, the line of mediocrity, the line that most people stick to, the line of just the black and white facts. The more that you actually go out there and put those flares into your leadership, the less competition that you're actually going to have. If I go to an Instagram account and I search business coach, I guarantee you there will be so many accounts who have the same, personal brand style, that pastel. Like, I'm not judging this. Obviously, if you're into pastels and things and that's what you're all about, then that's fine. But they'll have the really bright, really heavily saturated images of them, like with their laptops laughing. I've done this before as well. So we all fall into this trap. But maybe at a cafe laughing, and then their information is like just the standard facts that everybody else is sharing. Hey, you want to, avoid overwhelm, put your calendar together, like all of these things. Like there's so many people who are just repeating the same information and it sounds so no, it's cute. You're lying. I know that was referring to my diagram. I probably should have drew it nicer. I literally, this is exactly what I'm talking about. When I was in bed last night, it was 10 p.m. I was full of cheese. I had so much cheese yesterday, and I drank wine and I had a cheese board for dinner. And so even though I was a tiny bit tipsy and I was literally like to the point of like bursting full of cheese, it was still on my mind. I was still thinking about this stuff. I was in bed, like cheese comb it out, and I was like drawing this thing because like I really truly do sleep, eat, breathe, and like live this stuff because I love it so much to the point of even like cheese coma, I will still be thinking about this business stuff. That's what I mean when I say like it should be on your mind a lot of the time because you love it so much. Like I recently went to America and I didn't do as many lives as I would normally do. I didn't create any content and I actually felt sad. Like I felt anxious. I felt like something was missing from my life. I was having basically a midlife crisis at the age of 29. But it was all because like this stuff gives me life. That's how much I love it. And that's where you need to come from with the leadership. But back to differentiation, right? There really are two levels of differentiation, right? If we're trying to stay away from the safety line, if we're trying to differentiate ourselves, there's two levels of differentiation. The first is physical, right? This is what people see, hear, and experience, which in other words is your branding. I gave an example of someone on my podcast before, Gala Darling. I'd really like you guys to go look at her after this masterclass if you've never seen her before. Like she talks about spirituality, she talks about EFT tapping, which again, so many people do. Why does she stand out? Why is she so successful? Purely through her personal style. It's so heavily influenced into everything that she does that there is no one that could compete with her because she's so uniquely her. Another one of my clients that I'd like to use as a case study example, different to that, is Vanessa Lau. She's an incredible online business coach. Now, how does she create this differentiation? Purely through the value that she gives. Literally, another way to create value is even go further than everyone else is willing to go on the value side of things. You know, it's never crowded when you go the extra mile, which is another quote that I absolutely love. But differentiating really, really comes down to the easiest way to think about it is how can I create an experience that is like nobody else? And the second level of differentiation is emotional, right? This is the stuff that people feel, which is essentially your personal brand. This is your values, the stories that you tell, the opinions that you have, the mannerisms, like the things that you do. This is all about you. As I said before, when it comes to putting all of your ingredients into the bowl to mix and create that cake, the more that you can bring in these levels of differentiation, the more of your own values that you can influence, your own stories that you can influence it with, your own, your own like style, personal brand, the aesthetics that you like, the hobbies that you have. Obviously, always focusing on delivering value and getting people to where they want to go. But in order to stand out from everybody else, the more value that you give or the difference in value that you give is what's going to make your tribe decide on you. It's what's going to make your tribe know that you are the leader that they want to follow. If we even went back to this being stranded on an island, right? Imagine there were 3 people who all had the same information, all had the same, I know how to get us off this island. A lot of the time, people are going to follow the person who's got the most information, but quite often people will also decide on following the leader who have the same alignment of values. You know, if there was someone who was like all tatted up and like really into Sailor Jerry's rum or something like that, you know, the little old lady who hates tattoos is most likely not going to go with that tattooed up Sailor Jerry loving leader. But the other people who are on the island that are all tatted up and love Sailor Jerry's rum as well may choose him even over the person who has more information because of that alignment of values. So when people are choosing people that they want to follow, often it will be the person who's got the most information and the most value, but it also is heavily influenced by those values, by those characteristics, by that style. So the more you that you can be, the more that you can deliver value. If you can tick both of those boxes, the more your audience is going to choose you. Decide that you are going to be a leader. Take the action that you need to take to back up the claims and the decisions that you make. Go out there and deliver all the things that you learn to the world, and choose to differentiate yourself. Choose to be authentically you as much as you possibly can. These are the 4 Ds for how you decide, how you create a brand that is a leader from day one. This doesn't need to take you months, years. What's going to take you months, years is you hesitating, is you not truly making a decision, is you thinking that somebody's going to come and give you a piece of paper that says you're worthy of being a leader. You've got to give yourself that validation. You've got to make that decision, and you can literally do that from today and start delivering value tomorrow. And before you know it, you will be a number one leader in your industry. So guys, that is it. That is what I have for you today. I really, really hope that you've taken a crap ton of notes. I know that this is going to be super valuable. Obviously, you can come back and watch this at any time that you'd like. But I did want to quickly jump into a Q&A session. So for those who are here live full of cheese, oh my gosh, it was like ridiculous amounts of cheese. And I'd also been to the pub earlier on that day and had chicken wings. So yesterday was my not the most healthiest day. Let's just put it that way. But for anyone who is here live, does anyone have any questions, anything that's coming up for them that totally resonates with them, anything that they want to share, anything that they don't agree with? I mean, let's have a conversation. Either way, I want to know and I want to hear from you. Thank you so much. I have 4 pages of notes. Thank you so much. You are so welcome, guys. Honestly, come back and listen to it. I am all about not complicating things. Like I said, like I teach in my Simply Business program, I am so about simplifying things. We need to stop making everything sound so complicated. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. It's about what we do over and over again. You want to get a good body, go to the gym over and over again. You want to build a successful business, do the ABC business model over and over and over again. You want to be a leader, decide, deliver, differentiate, decide, deliver, decide, dedicate, deliver, and differentiate. And you know what? The decision is like something that you probably only need to do once or twice anyway. When you make that decision, the actions come from there. So really the only things that you consistently need to do is dedicate and deliver. Because once you know how to differentiate, you just do that as well. Like it really is so simple. Could this mindset be applied to a face painting small business? Of course. Honestly, this can be for anything. No matter what your passion is in the world, you deciding that you're good at what you do and that people should hire you, people should work with you, people should follow you. All of this stuff literally applies to anything. If you want to create a face painting business, decide that you are going to create the best goddamn face painting business in your particular area, because I know that type of business would be geographically location dependent. But decide, dedicate, craft your skills, right? If you want to be a face painter, if you want to be a guitar player, if you want to be a stylist, no, it's not always going to be just consuming information to teach. A lot of the time it will be learning and practicing to master, right? If you want to be a guitar player, you decide that you're going to be the best goddamn guitar player. Well, you learn everything you possibly can about playing guitar, and you learn and you practice each and every single day. It's the same thing. If there is an actual skill, if you want to be a video producer, a video editor, or I don't know, a music producer, you want to be the next Jay-Z, whatever it is that you want to do, like it's all about mastery. A really good book that I would recommend, which I haven't read myself, and I keep doing this lately, but my partner is reading it and I have read half of it, and it is really good. It's the book Mastery by Daniel Green, I want to say, someone Green. He's also got another book called Power that he co-authored with 50 Cent. So that's a really good book that talks all about what's his name, Robert Greene. So that's a really good book if you do want to learn a little bit more about mastery. But whatever it is, the 1,000 hours, 10,000 hours, like that's a real thing, guys. I also love this quote from Will Smith, which is all about talent. He said, talent you have naturally, skill only comes from hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft, right? And I love that so much. Anyone can have natural talent, but if we think back to the Lotus effect, like I talked in the beginning, like natural talent actually isn't that motivating. What motivates most people is knowing they've put in the work to get them to where they want to go. So when you start getting messages from people saying, you've changed my life, and you know that it's because you put in the work to learn the stuff that changed that person's life, that will transform you. That will be the most motivating thing in the entire world. I promise you that. When you see the fruits of your labor, an actual labor, not just something that you were born with, that is incredibly motivating. So whatever it is, face painting, anything, of course. Yes, I took some minutes to compare value over knowledge. Value is knowledge, right? Knowledge produces value. The more knowledge you have, the more the more valuable you can be, right? So value is knowledge. Knowledge is value, sorry. Thanks, Erin, for all the great advice. You are so welcome. How would you suggest sharing lots of content on Instagram when you don't have enough experience with YouTube yet to make quality videos? So lives, stories, and posts. So of course, whatever content you're learning, go out there. And I say, like, this is actually a really good question. Yeah. Okay. So maybe you don't know how to exactly edit a video yet or film a video. Here's a good strategy. I'm going to give you an exact strategy, Leanne. Go out there, learn what you need to learn, schedule a weekly live masterclass on Instagram, make it go for 20 to 30 minutes, save it after you go live, post it to IGTV so it remains there. Do stories each and every single day with micro tips, but if you want to deliver that long form content to increase your leadership, do a live, because all you got to do, you don't have to learn anything to go live. All you got to do is press go live. Get yourself a little tripod maybe if you want to. Hey guys, I'm going to teach you blah, 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 blah today, whatever your niche is. Press save afterwards. Go on your computer, airdrop it to your computer, post it to Instagram. You have to, if it's longer than 10 minutes, you have to do it on the computer. And then voila, there it is. There's your long form content using IGTV. Everything resonated with me today. I was stressing over this today. I spoke to a client about it on my own issue, feeling like imposter syndrome. Please know that we all feel like imposters. It's what you do with that fear, right, guys? Leaders integrate the belief of feeling the fear and doing it anyway. I want to start creating content on YouTube, but I'm always hesitating because I think it's too late for starting a YouTube channel. That's BS. One of my clients started her channel last year and already has 100K subscribers. So that's just a lie. That's a story. Is there many people doing that now? Yes. It doesn't matter. Here's the thing. Okay. Yeah. I know there's some people who are like, oh, it's too late to be a YouTuber. Are you trying to be a YouTuber or are you trying to be a leader? That's the thing. Ask yourself, if you're trying to be a leader, you can distribute video content that you put up on YouTube in so many different ways. If you're just trying to get subscribers for the sake of having subscribers and brand deals, I still don't even think it's too late for that. But go out there and create content. Every single piece of content that you create and put on YouTube is an asset to your business. I've been speaking about this a lot lately. Every single little video that you create is an asset because people can always find it and you can always redistribute it, right? Never is a video, even if it gets 0 views on YouTube, it is never in vain because that piece of content, if it is valuable and goes by the rules that we've been speaking about today, that is an asset to your business. That piece of content makes up your brand and your business. And you can take that video off YouTube in 2 years' time and you can repost it to LinkedIn. You could take that video and turn it into a GIF. It's creating content for the future. Never is creating any type of video a bad thing. Even if, it's kind of harder to get subscribers on YouTube these days, whatever, those are just stories and beliefs anyway. But most importantly, the content you create is creating assets for your business. So please don't ever shy away from using YouTube or anything like that. What if you have 2 passions? Well, from a commercial business perspective, you choose the one that's going to be most profitable. From I'm talking about if you love them both exactly the same, right? Obviously, if there's one that you love more, go with that. But if you love them both truly exactly the same, you go for the one that there is going to be more demand for, the one that can solve a bigger problem, the one that's more profitable. And then you can influence that passion with the other passion. And what I mean by that is, say, for example, you've got a passion, Say, for example, you've got a passion for social media marketing, you've got a passion for business, but then you also have a passion for playing the recorder. I don't know. remember how we spoke about differentiation and all the little nuances of your personality and your experience that is going to help you stand out from everybody else? You could go out there and be the most valuable, educated, knowledgeable person when it comes to social media marketing, but be really quirky because you play the recorder. So you could go on and be like, do, and play the recorder, and they'd be like, hey guys, my number one tip for you today is, and it's just weird, and people would enjoy it for the sake of just enjoying it. But the thing that's going to actually get you to where you want to go is going to be the one that is the most profitable thing. I feel like the leaders in my industry have already shared a lot of info. It doesn't matter. And I feel like it makes me feel like I don't have anything new to share. It doesn't matter. You don't have to share anything new. The info is already out there. How do I get past this mindset? No one's sharing anything new. Like Gary Vaynerchuk has like 1 billion videos on his channel and they all say the exact same thing. Who said you had to share something new? You've got to share it in a new way, which is when you influence it with your story and all your values. But no one said you had to share something new. Here's the thing, right? This has changed recently, but I'm going to talk about this example as of, say, a year ago. I love learning about manifestation, right? But I could not stand to listen to Abraham Hicks, which is obviously like one of the most like innovative like leaders, because they really did start bringing the law of attraction into the spotlight, right? But for some reason, I just didn't resonate. I didn't resonate with how disjointed the conversation was. It wasn't that I didn't, believe in the whole taking over. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go research it afterwards. But I just didn't like how disjointed the conversations was. It didn't get to the point enough for me. I'm so about simplicity. I'm so about just get to the point. What do I do? Tell me in 3 words or less. Like that's my thing, right? But some of the advice that they gave was just so long-winded. And so I didn't actually enjoy their content whatsoever. Now, there is so many other people in that industry who are learning from Abraham Hicks, but saying it in a way that resonates more with me. So if you're feeling like there's a lot of leaders out there, yeah, okay, they might be out there, but they're saying it in a way that is only going to resonate with their tribe. If you go out there and you bring your story, your opinion, your perspective, your values into it, there's going to be a whole group of people who are like, I don't want to listen to leader ABC. I want to listen to you, leader D, because the way you explain it resonates with me. So never be afraid to talk about things that other people are talking about. Do you think I'm the first person to come out and talk about how to be a leader online? No, but the way that I say it is exclusive to me. All the little stories, even the wine story about the cake and whatever, we went off and did that, even the saber-toothed tiger thing, like that is going to resonate with you guys because you obviously resonate with my personality because you're here, or maybe you're meeting me for the first time and you're like, I hate this girl, and you're going to click off, and that's fine too. But either way, your audience want to hear from you. I'm saying the same thing. Robert Green. Yeah, thank you for your advice. Do you need a certain amount of followers to post on IGV similar to the swipe up feature? I believe not. No. Well, someone said no with a exclamation mark. That boggled my mind, but definitely not. No, you can do IGT for anything. As a coach, you must continuously ask deep questions and have a client self-digest the root of their problems themselves without the coach teaching them, giving them advice, etc. Is that the only style of coaching coaches should do? My past coaches were never really clear on this. So as a coach, all you're trying to do is help your clients get a particular result, whether that is teaching them something, whether that is getting them to teach themselves. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's going to differ. This is the thing, like there's no one style of coaching. Coaching is helping someone to get a result. Like that is all coaching is. The way that Tiger Woods' coach helps him to take great golf shots is going to be completely different from the way that someone who's a relationship coach helps someone get to the point of, whether they want to have a divorce or not. Like there's no one style of coaching. I mean, there's an entire book that I've read that's like this big, which is filled with different styles of coaching. Like there's no one way to coach someone. So asking them deep questions to get to the core root of their problems, that may be applicable to someone who is struggling with mindset limitations or struggling with self-limiting beliefs. That may be a very powerful exercise that helps with that. But if you're trying to coach someone to I don't know, coach someone to be a better video marketer, then most likely you're going to be just teaching them information. And yes, then if they're like, oh, I'm scared to create videos, then you could ask them the questions to get to the core root of the problem. But there's so many ways that you coach someone, and the context of the coaching is going to influence what tool you use to get them the result that they want, right? Thank you so much, Erin. And everyone else, you are so, so welcome. Love you. Thank you. Love that. Thank you. Well, I love you. I love to write, but I feel that if I don't show up in video, maybe I'm not going to have as much interaction. Is that true? I don't believe so. I believe video is extremely powerful for building a personal brand because people get to see, hear, and experience you. But if writing's your thing, then go for the writing. Like maybe you could do blogs every single day on Facebook, and then here and there just show up on video, just so people, when they're reading your blogs, they know the way you speak, or your voice and the way that you move when you talk, so that they can further connect you with your writing. Like, here's the thing, so many people are really successful in writing and have never created a goddamn video in their life. However, yes, the way that the algorithms are and the way that like social media is these days, video is kind of king, right? But it doesn't mean that it needs to be your core strategy. Maybe you choose Facebook to be your core platform and you write every single day, and here and there you do a little video. Is it possible to post too many subjects when you are focusing on 3 things in terms of brand? Example, mine is a POC, special effects, beauty, makeup artist, and esthetician. I can't say that word. What is it? In training, and my goal is to help people look their best in any shade by finding products that truly help them. I'm also a supporter of body positivity and balance. So you want to have obviously your core thing, right? You can talk about multiple topics. I mean, I talk about spirituality, I talk about mindset, but it's like you always want to have your core thing, right? If you're going to be choosing to be a leader, what's your core thing? What's your core mission? Well, my core mission is to help people be extraordinary so they can make a positive impact on other people. The vehicle in which I do that is building a personal brand, and then obviously building a business as well. But actually that's not even the true core of the message. I want to help people build this amazing, epic personal brand so they can become speakers, authors, writers, whatever, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like there's so many influencing topics that come into that. I've spoke about this quite a lot on my Instagram recently, but something that I create, or that I do for myself and that I do with all of my clients, is simply a mind map. So I've got personal branding, becoming famous in the middle there, and then these are all the subtopics and subtopics that go with that. So I'm constantly talking about personal branding, but when I talk about marketing, and therefore even social media, it's for the purpose of personal branding. Do you know what I mean? It's not social media for the purpose of mummy blogs, because that's a totally different niche altogether. All of these things are coming in towards personal branding. So of course you can talk about multiple topics, but you want to have the core topic, your niche, in the middle of that. What is the name of the coaching book? Mastering Coaching. And it's not actually that thick. It's probably that thick. I over exaggerate sometimes, guys, when I get excited. I think many of you know. It's called Mastering Coaching. I don't know who it's by. You can look it up. It's got a gold star on the front. So many notes taken. Thank you, Erin. You guys are so welcome. All right, the famous map. I know it is a famous map because I've shown it like 10 times this week, and it's so ugly, and I'm sure half the words are spelt wrong. But anyway, you guys have learned many things about me today. 2 of that is I cannot draw diagrams and I cannot spell, but that's fine. We're all about it. I can teach personal branding, and that's what I'm here to do. Okay, guys, I really hope this was helpful. Please, please do not hesitate to reach out to me on social media if anything else comes up from this masterclass. I really, really want to make sure that you hear me when I say it's not about knowing, it's not about feeling inspired, it's about integrating. Choose to be a leader. Choose to be a leader. Choose to be a leader. When you make that decision and you dedicate yourself and you deliver and you differentiate, you will get to where you want to go with all of your goals. All right. Thank you so much for those of you who joined me live, and anyone who did stay to the end of the replay. You're incredible. That's the kind of stuff that leaders do. But I will see you guys really soon. Bye.